Okay, we're back with you again, and we are here now to do our closeout session. And I would just like to give you a few reminders of what we've been through over the last 2 days. We have sought to engage you in some very thoughtful and thought-provoking discussions about equal opportunity and diversity and inclusion in the STEM fields. We have addressed the Mission STEM website and what we've sought to do through that website, as well as our compliance reviews. And thankfully, you found our compliance reviews, those of you who have been through them, to be helpful. That sounds wonderful to us. We have also, in a very meaningful way, sought to engage our senior leadership in this endeavor over the last 2 days. You've seen many folks from our directorates and our senior leadership, as well as employees from a number of our offices who have been actively engaged in this effort. All of this for you to know and to understand how important this area is to us. Not only is it important to NASA, it's important to the nation. So we don't want to stop with just the summit itself. We now want to talk about our next steps. And I am now going to call forward our two moderators, Dr. Ellen Stofan and Dr. Alma Clayton Pedersen, who are going to briefly provide you with some highlights of the major challenges and opportunities that we've heard over the last 2 days. And we would like to engage you so that we can talk about the path forward. So I will give you Alma and Ellen shortly, and following Alma and Ellen, you will hear from our Deputy Administrator, Dr. David Newman, who will give closing remarks, and we thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. I want to say congratulations to the diehards. You are still here and hanging in there trying to learn as much as you can, and we really appreciate you being here. Ellen and I have agreed that we would take these 4 big points that we think we captured, minus grants and contracts, because this part is really about what you're going to take back to campus. You dealing with grants and contracts is on you. We'll start with the topic. I'll say a little bit of an overview, and then Ellen is going to, we're going to engage in a conversation about it just briefly, maybe 2 minutes on each, and then we're going to have an exercise with you. So if you aren't sitting next to somebody, please get with somebody while we're talking, okay? The first is about leadership. That institutional policies with teeth need to come from leadership in order to change behavior, and that leadership occurs at all levels.
I think that's one of the things to me that I hadn't really focused on, but like the report that we just saw with what do students want on campuses, why are they protesting, what do they want? You have to have that bubble up from below. What do the students need? What are they thinking? What do they want? But on the other hand, if you also don't have strong leadership at the top, really setting the tone, setting the policies, you're going to fail. But I would argue you really need both. It's a continuum.
Absolutely, absolutely. Second, and this is a big, broad area that we're going to break down a little bit in a minute. Recruitment and retention. We talked a little bit about appropriate knowledge about how to be ready for success, but at every level. We often think about people need to be prepared to help students in K-12, but we don't think about how the college student needs to be ready for that next level, and that the graduate needs to be ready for the master's level, and that the master's level person needs to be ready for the PhD, if that's where we want them to go. Outreach?
Yeah, and I think there's this whole issue in terms of thinking about how we are talking to students. Are we treating them as a cohort, as a team that aren't all the same? They all are coming from a different background, they have different needs, they have different thoughts, but how do you bring them together? And I thought that whole discussion of cohorts was really interesting.
I agree, and that also there needs to be professional development for faculty and staff to be able to do this work effectively. The third thing was growing the STEM pipeline is the big topic, but mostly that's about affirming the affirmation of talent. It's a different way to think about affirmative action. It's the affirmation of talent. And some of the topics we talked about?
Well, one of the big ones that I thought was particularly interesting was the issue of stereotype threat. And you know, when we talk about challenges, whether it's knowing about unconscious or implicit bias, stereotype threat, imposter syndrome, these are evidence-based things that now, due to all this research that's been done, there are some paths forward. And I thought the issue with stereotype threat, how do you get a kid who's going to take a negative commentary and in a way take it too seriously and say, I'm out of here? How do you find a way, and I love that from Beverly, of before you put the red ink, say, I'm so glad you're here, you're going to be one of my best students. Now here's all the things you did wrong. You know, that affirmation I thought was really a positive piece of advice.
And token licensing. That once you hire that first woman in the physics department, you can't just check off the box and walk away. It's time to get busy and get more.
You know, and I hear that, you know, so many people from different federal agencies will come up to me and they're like, NASA's so great, they have you and they have Dava. And I'm like, NASA's great because they have Dava and I, but that's not sufficient. And when we look at our numbers and say, you know, the percentages we have aren't adequate, we're not normalized. And so while we're doing well as an agency, I think we always have to be saying, just because you've got one or two people in different categories, you ain't done, people. You've got work to do. And we all have work to do. And we need to keep this idea of normalizing our populations at the forefront.
And today we heard something I thought was very, very interesting, and that is to recognize that our communities have a spectrum of abilities. I think that's a really good way to think about it. It came from the disabilities coordinator as part of a compliance review. But when you apply that to all of the folks who are in our communities, we then begin to look at them differently, and it's easier to do that work.
You know, and that's the whole reason we need diversity to begin with. Because if we knew how to get to Mars, if we knew how to solve climate change, you know, that would be great. But we have these huge technical challenges in front of us. And if all of us think the same, if we're not taking in people from different abilities who look at problems in different ways, we're really not going to solve these tough challenges in front of us. So to me, this whole idea of appreciating the spectrum of abilities, getting everybody on board, getting all hands on deck, it's an imperative now. This isn't something we have a choice on. And I love Beverly's point. Demographics are also going this way. So as institutions, if we don't figure out how to include everybody, you know, we're going to fall behind because that's not where the population is going. We're a changing population. We need to embrace that and move forward.
And the final point was to work closely with the populations for whom you seek to improve their sense of belonging. That we often go in a room and we make out a plan and then roll it out and wonder why it doesn't work. Who have you involved in the development of those plans? Who have you engaged in order to make sure that what you're moving forward with is something that those students, faculty, and staff, and this includes the museums and science centers, is this what they want and what they need?
Yeah, and I think we just heard that out of the last with a lot of the Title IX compliance work that's been being done. Again, when you go out and talk to students, you may be thinking that your students understand what to do if they're sexually harassed. Or you might think they understand what, again, this is that bubble up, top down leadership. You know, you need to be working it at both angles to make sure that you understand. And again, I'm not just saying universities or museums, this goes for us at NASA too. We have our own work to do.
Okay, I'm gonna go and look at this little thing here. So now what I want you to do is did you have a partner? Did everybody find a partner? So what I want you to do is to think about all of the things that you've heard and the things that you know from your own experience on your own campus, things that weren't talked about today. And I want you to share with your partner what you think is the best takeaway or what you think that other person might use for their campus. So what you're going to do for 3 minutes is to exchange a promising practice. exchange one that you think, I've really learned something, and here's the one I'm going to take back. Or here's one I'm already doing, but we didn't get an opportunity to discuss it today. I'm going to get, literally, I'm going to say 1.5 minutes for each of you, and then I'm going to tell you to switch, okay? Does everybody have a tablet that they can write on after the fact? I want you to, we want to know these things, but for right now, I want you to discuss it with this one person. Now, discuss it with the person who you've picked as your partner, starting now. Yikes. Omega. I'm sorry?
So I guess the main thing as far as something that I can proactively in relation to sex is just thinking of taking this last starting class. It's a little bit different than what my master class is teaching. I don't look at classes, people majors get brought in. My virtual readings have a big issue with scientists. But astronomy class, making scientists. I think I set a good tone for the climate. I'm not sure I'm intentionally explicit. So, be a little bit more upfront. Try to get on top of some expectations. I try to attack that. Things like that. The idea that a large number of women, some students of color, a large number of women plus students of color.
10 seconds. 10 seconds before you have to switch. Okay, stop. If you have not switched and exchanged, it's time to do that now. Seconds.
We had that debate constantly. At the same time, I should
10. Okay, please, if you can, stop. You do want to go home, right? We all have flights to catch? Okay. I know it's really hard once you get going because there's so much that happened while we were here, right? But we have to stop right this minute, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to do one more thing, if you will. I hope you know that what we're trying to do is to create a community so that when we're done here, you don't just stop and keep it to yourself, that you create a community among the people that are here. Share your business card with the person who is next to you, who you've been talking to, and maybe together you can make your ideas a lot stronger. But right now, I want you to, if you have everybody have an electronic way to communicate with this email address? If not, I'm going to give you a piece of paper because we want to hear from you about what you're doing on your campus. NASA, if you don't have a way to connect here, we're going to do this right now, real quick, and send in a promising practice that you would like to have NASA review and think about in creating a publication about promising practices in STEM. Now, if it can't get done before David has to come up and give her closing remarks, please continue to do so. If you need a piece of paper to write it on, these are duplicates. It has 2 pieces to it. If you write hard with a pen, it will come out on the other side. That's what Ellen and I did. I wrote the summary, and we then exchanged it. So you keep the one that you have, so you remember what you told us, and then give us the top copy so it's really clear, and Nessa can read what you have. This is a wonderful invention. I use it a lot of ways. But please do so now, and I'll invite David to come up and do her closing remarks. And I want to thank you for playing with each other and learning with each other. Thank you very much, and have a safe travel home.
Excellent. Well, hello, everyone. And hello to the virtual folks as well. And thank you all for hanging with us. And I want to, most importantly, acknowledge the folks that put on this incredible couple days for us. So the sponsoring office and the lead is Office of Diversity and Equal Opportunity. Brenda and her entire team, if you guys could stand up, we'd love to applaud you. Brenda, Sharon, David, Crystal, Omega, Veronica, Rebecca, Bob, Barbara, stand up, everybody. If you are here, keep standing, because we owe you just a huge thanks. Stellar job. You were joined by our office, the Office of the Administrator, Mike, Clarissa, Danielle is here. Danielle, stand up. Our partner offices, if you're here, folks from Aeronautics, folks from Facilities and Administration, please stand. If anyone's here, Human Exploration, the Office of the Chief Engineer, the Chief Scientist, and where's Xavier? Yes, Office of the Chief Scientist is standing. Communications, keep standing, Xavier. Communications, they're probably tweeting all of this and getting us going. Office of Education, Donald, all your folks, Donald and Roosevelt and Valerie, General Counsel, Human Capital, Legislative Affairs, Procurement, Small Business, Science Mission Directorate, and our Space Tech Mission Directorate, and Curtis Lewis and Associates too. So thank you to everyone. As you can see, it takes a team. It takes a huge team, and no small feat at all. So over the last 2 days, we've examined a number of topics. Of course, these issues can't be solved in 1 or 2 days. They haven't really been solved in decades. But our sessions were designed for real deliberate discussion and talk, and we must solve this together. We must do this collectively. It takes government, it takes academia, it takes the other organizations that are here with us today. Hope we can accelerate change. I really do think we have clear goals to reach parity, and I believe that the excellence we seek absolutely, unequivocally, demands diversity and inclusion. Some of the highlights for me, huge list. I learned so much in these last 2 days. I love that part. I'm a lifelong learner. I learned so much from all of you. And really helping the students see that the STEM careers, they hold the excitement of serving society, of answering those huge world challenges, and telling them, I see you, each and every one of them. I see you. So we can bring them into STEM. I call STEAMed because I see a whole bunch of them. And leading to cultural change. Change is hard. I get that. But change is hard, but it requires leadership, which is from the top, but all the way down to the bottom, because the students have some of the best, the young people have some of the best solutions that we need to hear about. And this change has to be transparent. Illuminate those problems. These are difficult things to talk about, sexual harassment, but have the discussion. And this is really a no-tolerance zone for sexual harassment. So we have to have the discussion. We have to have the dialogue. We have to put it out there in the open. We have to have safe havens for folks to report and bring it so that we can bring about the change that we so desperately need. So I really think it's collectively, it's on all of us, us as a big community, to make sure that every student who wants to be in STEM, they succeed. Every student who wants to open their eyes, who wants to, we don't weed anyone out, no filtering anymore. We change that, we filter them in. The nation and all of our work needs every single girl and boy out there. So we have to give them the spark and we filter them in. So we have to change that conversation. Make sure that they succeed, that's on us. We have to make sure that they succeed. And each and every one of us, it's been said many times, it's in our own sphere to bring about the change we see. Each and every one of us can do something. First, we have to realize that culture change. We have to build this sense of community and belonging, because everyone belongs, and we have to make that very, very apparent. So make no mistake about the summit and any future similar events. The Mission STEM Summit is very much tied to the fact essential to most of our really important, our big missions at NASA as an entire agency. We will only go to Mars if we can solve the technical challenges the journey presents, but most importantly, if we open our doors, our minds, and our hearts, and make the necessary changes to include the diverse talent pool that we have right now in America. We need everyone. So in the final analysis, for all of your institutions, thinking about when you go away, you can go back home, these past couple days have really been, we hope, a renewed call to action for you to focus on attracting and nurturing, using all those best practices that you already have, those promising practices. That's why we're sharing. Don't reinvent the wheel, but if you're doing something that works, then let's share it within this whole community gathered here, and we'll spread it out. We'll spread the word, because again, it's to provide that sense of belonging to each and every student out there, staff member, faculty, and again, amongst our whole community. So we really think that this network that we're trying to really kind of jumpstart, again, this renewed call to action, is we really can achieve it. We really can achieve it. I'm very positive about that. I'm the eternal optimist, but not in decades, multiple decades. Why so slow again? So let's see what we can really do if we really teamed up. There's so many good ideas about coalitions and working together. So I just want to close then with my personal guideposts for leadership and excellence, which is to love, act, discover, and innovate. It's a new acronym. Love, because the people and relationships always come first. People always come first. Act, because diversity and inclusion, it's urgent. It's on our watch, and it's absolutely urgent. No more excuses. To discover, because again, collectively, we might have the promising practices that we need. Let's discover them. Let's communicate them. Let's discover them. And then finally, to innovate, because we've been working on this a long time, and we haven't quite made the grade yet. So I've learned, and I think we include the younger generation, and we bring them in, and we hear, because they're going to help us. They're going to be the innovators. They are the innovators. They help us with these solutions. So again, it's the millennials, and I actually think it's the students who are in high school and at your universities today. I call them the Mars generation, because they're going to be the ones who are boots on Mars. So it really is, deeping down, innovative. Ask them their ideas. They are innovative, and that's how I think we all do it together. So I think that's being part of the solution. I do call you all to action, to act with us. That's what we're here for, is to welcome you, to listen to your ideas, and think we can do this. So you're all incredibly wonderful partners to us at NASA, and we want to thank you. We want to thank you for this first great step, this first dialogue. Thank you very much.